everyone. So today we're going to talk about Adobe Stock, which is a service by Adobe which gives you access to more than 300 million royalty-free assets. Why you should worry about using Adobe Stock, or why you should even bother going through this video? It's because every single creative find a need to get that asset, that perfect asset for the project. Maybe it's an image or an illustration, a vector, maybe an HD footage, maybe some background music for your video stuff. So there are a lot of things that you can request for or ask for when you're working on a project. So if your answer to this question or to this problem is that, hey, you know what, I go to Google and I search for an image or an asset that I'm looking for. I go to free websites, download it, and start using it in my project because it says it's free. Let me give you an alert here that it's not supposed to be used that way. It's an intellectual property, and someone has the rights to use it and sell it, and you're not supposed to use it just like that, right? So and it can basically take you to a lot of legal issues if they find this out, right? So what's the solution? What's the real solution here? What's the long-term solution to this problem? The solution is Adobe Stock. Adobe Stock gives you an access to more than 300 million royalty-free assets. What does that include? It includes things like photos, right? Illustrations, vectors, videos, audio, templates. What's included in templates? We'll see that in a moment. You have access to premium images and even 3D assets, right? So the website you go to is stock.adobe.com, and today I'm going to show you how you can start using it in your projects in no time. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm in Adobe Stock website, and the address is stock.adobe.com. As you can see on the top of the screen, you just type in stock.adobe.com. It's going to take you to the website that you're looking for. You have different categories on the top of the screen: photos, illustrations, vectors, video, and whatnot. You can click on them and see which one is you're looking for, right? For example, I'm a creative and I need to create something from scratch, and it's always an issue for me to think something brand new out of the box in the name of creativity. I always would love to have some helping hand, some sort of template that I can start building on and then create my creativity into that template. So you have access to templates here. And when I say templates, you have things like Photoshop templates, motion graphic templates, Adobe Express templates, InDesign templates, and much more, right? And how these templates are different from the photos option, it gives you an access to layered files, basically more control over the editing, right? So that's there. And then you can go into photos. You'll see there are different categories of photos depending on what season or what time of the year it is. You will see different categories getting updated here. Things like seasonal colors, autumn, higher education. There are so many relevant categories that you can basically go into and look for, right? But that being said, let me quickly show you how you can use it in your workflow and how easy it is and how it's going to help you save a lot of time, right? So let's say I'm working on a Photoshop project. Maybe this is a business card from my previous video. And what I want to do here is I want to put some sort of background image here, and then I'll be done with my project, right? And I'm not a kind of person who can basically go out there and do my photos myself. I'm not a photographer. I'm a creative doing Photoshop stuff, but I need to rely on some third-party images to get my projects done. So where do I go to find that image? Yep, you guessed it, Adobe Stock. That's where you go. Now, there are multiple ways of how you can access and bring this into your workflow, and I'm going to show you the two most common methods of what you should know of using Adobe Stock. The first method is you go to the browser and then you go into the photo sections if you're looking for images, and then you can search it as you will search on Google, for example, right? So maybe let's say I'm looking for a picture of sunset, for example. Maybe that's what I want to put, or maybe sunrise. That's what I want to put in the business card there, right? So I will simply hit the keyword, click enter or return on the keyboard, and it should be able to give you the relevant results back in no time, right? So you see there are beautiful pictures of sunset that I could get to choose from. I can click on them. I can see more details, things like who is the creator, and what is the information about the picture, what is the dimension, what is the file type, those kind of stuff before I license that picture for my project. But what I can also do is, I mean, you have all the control. It totally depends on you how you want to do that. If you really like this picture and you want to go with this, you can simply click on the license button, and it's going to take 1 credit from your pool. So basically, you can buy a pool of credits from Adobe saying, I need 10 credits or 20 credits or 200 credits, whatever is the number, and then it's going to deduct that number of credits for that particular asset from your pool. So that's one way. And the second method is you can pay as you go as well. You don't have to buy upfront, and you can just pay for every single asset every time you like to license something, right? So for example, the step number 1 would be for me is, or I would say the option number 1 would be, I just hit the license key or the license button, and I get the license of this image or the asset, and I can simply download it, the full version, and I can start using it. So that's the option number 1. But what about maybe I don't really know if I really need this image, right? Because I wanna visualize it. I wanna see it in my project before I put my money down onto that asset. Is there an option to do that? Yes, there is. You see, there is also an option for downloading preview, right? What does that mean? It means this is going to just download the free version or the watermark version of this image or the asset that I get to try first before I put my commitment of buying this image or asset or license this asset from Adobe Stock. So I can do that. I can click on download preview, and then it's going to, of course, download it to your downloads folder. From there, you can see it. You can start using it. You can see this is a low resolution version with all the watermark and everything. And then what I can do here is I can bring it to my libraries panel by dragging and dropping it, or even I can just select the right layer, the frame, and then I can drag and drop it there as well, right? Right now I have a few effects applied. For example, you see the fill is on 75% here, and then it's using overlay just to show you the normal picture, changing it back to normal, changing the blending mode back to normal, right? So there's your picture, there's the resolution, there are the watermarks, everything you can see. And maybe you get to choose everything that you want to change, and you can visualize whether or not you really like that asset before you license it, right? So that's one way of working, which is downloading the preview, bringing it into your project, trying it, and then licensing it, and then replacing the full version with your original licensed picture, right? What's even better, because we're talking about Adobe, we're talking about Adobe solutions working together, we're talking about productivity, removing that friction from your workflow. What's even better is you can go back to Adobe Stock and you can say, you know what, I don't want to download this preview to my hard drive. I want to download this preview to my library. Now, in case you are not aware of libraries, I have done a full-fledged video. I'll put the link in the description as well. Creative Cloud Library is a way for you to curate all the assets that you need for that project. And the libraries panel is always available in all the Adobe applications. As you can see here as well, there's a libraries panel, and I have access to all the assets that I need in this project right within the Photoshop application, right? So I won't talk about libraries much here because I've already done a full-fledged video about libraries. Now, what you can do is you can just save this asset directly from Adobe Stock to your libraries, and I'll show you the benefit of doing that in a moment. So let's just go through let's just go with the flow right now. So I'm going to click on Save to Library. It's going to say, okay, where do you want to save it? Do you want to save it to the default? No, I want to change my default here, and maybe I want to create a new library, or I can save it to one of the existing libraries that I've been using, right? So let's just say I want to save it to my demo library, for example, right? So that's being saved there. That's being moved to the default CC library, and it's called as Summer Sky Background or Sunset. Now, once that is done, what's going to happen behind the scenes? Adobe is going to sync that the lighter version of the asset or the free version of that asset into your Creative Cloud Libraries panel seamlessly in the background, so that you can see that image popped up or that asset popped up into your libraries panel as well. There you go. There you have it. And in case you might be wondering if you have a lot of assets here, how can you even find it quicker? You always have option for searching assets in your library. You see it says search current library. So you can put the keyword like sunset, and you can find the right asset in no time in your libraries panel. Now, once you have it in your library from Adobe Stock, there are a couple of things that you can do. You can simply drag and drop that that version, the free version, onto your frame and have this tried in your project, right? So for example, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to use the same frame, and I'm going to drag and drop this image onto that frame and change the picture, and I'm going to increase the fill to 100%, and maybe, you know what, I'm going to change it from overlay to normal so that you can see it clearly, right? So that's my picture from Adobe Stock, and that have used a workflow of sending the picture from the Adobe Stock website to the libraries panel, and then dragging and dropping it from the libraries onto my project. Now let me show you the benefit of doing that. Now you can make all the changes you want. You can, and of course those changes have to be non-destructive changes for this trick to work or this workflow to work. So you've done things like, you know, changing the maybe opacity, or you want to change the fill, or you want to apply some I don't know, maybe some other effects on it. Maybe what I want to do is I want to correct some hue and saturation, and I want to maybe saturate it a little bit more, something like this. You know, I can do all those kind of things, and I can just pin it down to just to my frame and those kind of stuff. You know, all the things that you can do with Photoshop, right? So the idea is that you've done all the editing that you want to before you buy or license that image. And when you're really sure that, yeah, I mean, everything looks all right, and now I want to license and change this image into a full version, high resolution picture, all you need to do is go back to the libraries panel, and you will see that there is a cart icon, like a symbol of cart, on the top left hand side of that picture or that thumbnail, that you can click and license the image right from the libraries panel, right? You don't have to remember where that asset was in the stock website. You don't have to go back to the stock website and search for it again and license it from there. You don't have to download it and replace the picture and redo the entire work of Adobe Stock. You know, you don't really have to redo the entire work of editing and everything. All you need to do is just hit that confirm button. It's going to take 1 credit out of your pool, or you can just do a pay-as-you-go stuff. And as you can see on the screen, in no time, what it's going to do is it's going to replace your watermark free version image with that high resolution picture in your composition itself, right? How cool is that? So that's your option number 2, the workflow number 2. Now, what I'm going to show you next is going to really blow your mind, because this is going to help you save the time to the next level. And what's that workflow? What about if I tell you, for you to be able to find that Adobe Stock image or asset, you would never have to leave your native application. If you're working in Photoshop for image editing, you don't have to leave Photoshop. If you're working in Premiere Pro for video editing, you don't have to leave Premiere Pro. And that's true for all the Creative Cloud applications. You can search for all these assets right within Adobe's native application. And let me show you how you can do that. So the workflow number 3 is going to be, let me clear things out first. The workflow number 3 is going to be for you to go into the libraries panel, which I've shown you before, and then I've shown you the section where you can search for the assets in your current library. You see it says search current library. So basically anything you put in here, if I say sunset, is going to search for those keywords in your current library, right? But you see there is an arrow pointing downwards on the right hand side. Right beside that search current library, there's a arrow pointing downward. If you click on that, you will be able to change your searching criteria from current library to Adobe Stock, right? So let's just do that. Let's click on Adobe Stock, search Adobe Stock. And now if I search for sunset, for example, I will get all those results that I was getting on the website right within Photoshop or any other Adobe application that I'm using. And it's going to save me tons and tons of time, because I don't have to go to stock website or any third-party website to be able to search it. I can do it right within the native application, right? So that's there. And then again, the workflow is going to be the same. Now maybe that's the sunset that I like. I can either click on save preview to demo library to get the test, or I can just hit the card button and license it directly. Maybe I want to go with the test first. I'll click on the plus button. It's going to download the free version, the preview version, into your libraries panel again, as it did before. But the only difference now is that we're not doing it through the website. We're doing it through the application directly, through our Adobe Photoshop application directly, right? And then again, same workflow. You can drag and drop image onto your project. You see the watermark version. You continue to make all the changes that you want to do. And once you're done, you hit the card button or the card icon to license it and change it with a full resolution image. Okay, so right now we've taken an example of just the images, but that's true for all other asset types. What are the asset types of, if you may ask? It's the one that I showed you before. So you can do the same process for photos, illustrations, vectors, video, audio, templates, and premium assets as well, right? So same workflow. How? Because you see here, when I search for anything in Adobe Stock, again, maybe sunset, I'm obsessed with sunsets, but that's your search. And then you see there is a filter option. I can click on the filter and then I can change. Maybe I'm looking for just illustrations. Maybe I'm just looking for vectors. Maybe I'm just looking for videos, templates, whatnot. I can just change the criteria here and get the relevant options back in the result. Okay. So that being said, that's the normal workflow going to look like if you start using Adobe Stock. You have the option to go to the option number 1 is you go to the Adobe Stock website and then you search for it. You find something relevant. You click on the download preview, use it, license it from the website and re-download it. Or the option number 2 or the workflow number 2 is you save it to your libraries, right? You save it to the libraries, and then you download you just save the library. You save the preview to the library. You use it from the libraries panel and then license it from the libraries. And the third option is you don't have to go to Adobe Stock at all. You just go to the libraries, click on the drop down arrow, change it to Adobe Stock, search from here, and start using it directly from here, right? So these are the three options for you. Now, let's just do one more thing before we wrap up this video, which is looking at the power of Adobe Stock website, because it's all good that you can find those royalty-free assets and you can start using it. You don't have to worry about the legal issues now, and you can enhance your creativity as well because you get access to more than 300 million royalty-free assets to choose from. And that's all good. But the question is, how can I find that right asset for my project in no time? Basically, how can I minimize the time that I spend for searching the right asset for my project? So let's just quickly have a look at that, right? So I'm going to go into the website mode again, and I'm going to use the same photos method, and I'm going to search for something here. Maybe let's just say happy child. Now, in website, you get access to something more than what you get access to in the Photoshop application, which is access to these aesthetic filters or AI-based filters that lets you find that right asset in no time. So I'm going to click on that filters button and you'll see the kind of things that I can get access to. So I have access to things like, what are you looking for? Photos, illustrations, or vectors? I get to choose that here. You're looking for standard content or premium content. The difference is, of course, premium content will charge you more, standard will be cheaper, right? You want to be unique in your project. You don't want to use something that other people are using in their project as well. You can enable this option for undiscovered content, which means that it gives you an access to assets that nobody has downloaded yet or nobody has used yet, right? So maybe you want to be a bit more unique in your project. You can do that here. You want to find assets from local artists. You can enable that. You're looking for transparent background or isolated assets. Isolated assets is basically where you have nothing going on in the background and you have like asset popping up out of the background itself. Something like this, right? Maybe that's what you're looking for. Maybe you're looking for a PNG document. You can go for transparent background here, right? You can choose whether you're looking for horizontal pictures, portrait, vertical, panoramic images. You can choose that here. You're looking for an image with copy space where you have some space to type in something or put a quote there, put a logo there. You can enable that option so that you have only the images showing up with the copy space. You have access to aesthetic filters like depth of field. You need more depth of field, less depth of field in the background. You can enable or disable that here. Right now you're looking at isolated images, so it doesn't really make a lot of difference. But if I disable that, and you will see you will have high depth of field in the background now, right? And then you can also choose whether you need photos with high vivid colors, low vivid colors, right? Depending on, you have like a slider to choose that and enable more colors or less vivid colors in the image. You can do that as well, right? Yeah, there are tons and tons of options for you to choose from. I wouldn't really go deep into every single thing, but you can see things like you can exclude people, you can have it for editorial purposes or just commercial use, and those kind of stuff are there. And then once you find the relevant asset, you can simply click on that and you can license it and go through the same process that we discussed before, right? So that's there. Let's talk about the scenario where, let's say you have a picture in your mind or maybe in your phone, maybe something that you clicked from your phone or downloaded from Google, but you can't really use that asset because maybe it's low in resolution. Maybe you're not that good of a photographer. Maybe because, of course, using that Google image from the Google websites, they're not royalty free and you're not supposed to use it. How can you word it correctly so that you can find the right colors, right content in Adobe Stock so that you can use it in your project? Let's take an example here. I'm going to jump over to my desktop and show you a sunset picture again. Yeah, I'm obsessed with sunsets. But a sunset picture that I clicked from my phone when I was visiting Sydney. It's an amazing view out there near Darling Harbour. So I was near Sydney Harbour Bridge. So I clicked this picture of sunset. I really like the colors and the content and the composition, but I can't really use it because I know for a fact that I'm not a very good photographer. And secondly, the phone camera wasn't really great. Um, so how can I use this picture for me to be able to find out the right content, similar colors, similar content in Adobe Stock? So let me show you the solution to that problem here. Okay. So what you can do when you go to Adobe Stock, there's an option for you to search on the basis of other assets. You can also do that. You can search with keywords. That's one option. Or you can search on the basis of other keywords as well. Other existing assets as well. And how can you do that? You see there is this option for the magnifying, like there's an icon of a magnifier, and then like something on the background. So just click on that, and it's going to give you an access to a place where you can drag and drop any image or audio file for Adobe Stock to run its intelligent AI operation in the background so that it can find the exact picture for you or exact audio file for you, right? So let me show you this thing in action. I'm going to just drag and drop this sunset picture onto Adobe Stock UI, and you will see in no time it's uploading the file. It's looking at all the colors in the picture. It's looking at the content that it's a sunset. It's looking at the composition, and it's going to give you the relevant results. Now you can imagine it's going to be if I would have to just word it out and type in the keyword, it's going to be really difficult for me to find that exact picture that I'm looking for. But with this AI based search, I can Adobe Stock will do all the heavy lifting for you, and it's going to give you the relevant results. I can still kind of decide whether I want to look at just the results on the basis of the color, and I don't care what is going to be the content or just the composition or just the content, or maybe I want Adobe Stock to look at all the composition, all the attributes there, right? So how cool is that, right? So you can see the images coming up with a similar color, similar composition. Maybe I can click on that. I can click on download preview. The same workflow, you know the story already, right? So that's there as well. So yeah, I mean that's I would highly recommend. I would highly encourage you to explore this, see how you can use this in your projects and increase your productivity, increase your creativity, and also stay away from those legal issues that we spoke about. So that's all from my side. From on Adobe Stock topic, I will continue to post more helpful videos on my channel. Please consider subscribing it. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share it with your friends and peers who can benefit from this, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.